Okay, so here are the three big stories in about 3 minutes. It is Saturday, December 2nd. So the first is that Ukraine Marines hacked a Russian drone's video feed. They found the base, then they shelled the base. Now, if the Ukrainians can do it, eventually the Russians are going to be able to do it. But I just thought this was amazing. This happened near Krinkny. Now, Krinkny is where they crossed over the Kherson, and the Russians didn't want to tell the boss that something bad was going on there, so the Ukrainians were able to create somewhat of a beachhead before the Russians could respond. The footage was sent to the Ukraine 32nd Marine Brigade, which geolocated it, and sent a reconnaissance drone to the area. They found the right building with the drone operators and an antenna, and they were able to shell it. So bad things can happen if you're not careful. That's story number one. Story number two, Putin orders Russian military to boost troop numbers by about 170,000. That's to take effect immediately. Now, to put that in perspective, there are some things that you need to understand. Russian President Putin has ordered the country's military to increase by 170,000 to a total of 1.32 million. Now, that 1.32 million is actually set in its own context of bringing the overall number of Russian military personnel to about 2.2 million, including 1.3 million troops. But then there are other personnel related to the military, so it's a little bit larger than that. But this is what's interesting to me. The previous boost by 137,000 troops ordered by Putin in August 2022. So what happened last time when you saw that wave of conscription and people, like almost a million people fled the country, not quite a million, it depends on the estimates actually, but fled the country because of that, that went up by 137. In the last 6 months, according to Ukraine's figures though, Ukraine has taken 121,000 off the battlefield. So increasing by 137, that's a really interesting thing. That just brings us to where we were about 6 months ago. Okay, last story. Russia is now paying off the wives of soldiers in Ukraine not to stage protests. Now, that's really fascinating to my mind because these women who are upset on November 27th, 2023, one prominent online group of soldiers' wives published a manifesto against indefinite mobilization. So the soldiers have been told, well, we're not actually telling you when you get to come home. You get to come home when the war is over. And so they're protesting, but the Russian government is paying them off. That is really telling to me that Russia is worried about the effect that they could actually have. Okay, that's it. That's three big stories. Tell me what you think. I'm curious. Put them in the comments below. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and the coffees. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.